Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of the Vertical Man. I'm Mahmoud, my brother Yarna, and needless to say, we are happy and really in honor and in gratitude for doing this and bringing in the topics that needs to be brought into spaces where men are looking for healing and women also are looking to understand men. And today we wanted to go a little bit deeper um, and discuss the way sometimes we as men might have or perhaps have taken on some programs that really does not allow us to meet naturally other women. Um, Today we're going to discuss four elements that actually distorts how men look at a woman. So before even the first high or before even the first, meeting, first date, or maybe the first touch, um, a man might be operating from some programs that just does not allow him to meet the woman in the moment. And this is what we wanted to discuss today. There are four elements, and if you feel like there are more, please share it with us. But the first element that all of us as men, and mostly as boys in this modern culture, um, the first way and the first distortion that we met was porn. And porn in the beginning, you might have come in contact with some videos, some pictures. For me, I came in contact when I was 7 years old. But it even doesn't have to be just a video in your 7 or 8 or maybe 12. It could be that your father was a porn addict as well. And the way he saw women just got inherited to your own gene and your own biology. So basically, porn, we're going to look at porn today and how the first aspect of how a man sees a woman as, well, I'm going to be honest here, as an object or as a mean to get his feelings met, to get his release out of the way, and to feel a sense of adventure and intensity. And it's actually something that might actually get in the way of a man that wants to really meet a woman and build with. The second element that comes in the way is the movies. This is something that's very new. It's relatively actually new. Um, we as boys growing up, either you like it or you don't like it, there we got programmed by a lot of Disney movies about romance. And that romance has a beginning and it has to have an intensity, it has to have a movie in it, a script, and it has to have a plot and a good ending at the end. And what we don't realize is that because we watch these movies and we're so vulnerable to it and we let our chemicals be affected, um, these movies in the end we try to replicate subconsciously, either we're aware of it or not, to try to have something replicated in reality. And a man should a man could find himself unwillingly just trying to make a partner, just fulfill a role, just to feel a sense of love and just to feel a sense of potential. And when it doesn't, he feels that there's something wrong. The third element is the woman that the man grew up with. So we're talking about the woman that gave him birth, his mother, his aunties, his cousins, his woman cousins, and also the first woman that he grew up, and his nervous system and his awareness started to, observe that woman's nervous system, her emotional weather, her expectations, her disappointments, and so forth. And basically, this happens more and more intensely with a woman that is the man's mother. And a man will grow up trying to give the safety that his mother usually wanted from his father. So we grow up trying to be that version of a man that another woman thinks is right for us. And we try to give it to a woman that never asked for it. And fourth element, and this is the element that is the dangerous of them all, and I feel like there's a sense to bring it up, and that's the red pill community. And the red pill community comes in a man's lowest period, and it comes in the form of a guy. It comes in the form of a guy who you would feel has it all together, and he tells you that a woman's biology and a woman's psychology could be used to your own advantage, and that you're a king. He acknowledges your pain, and at the same time manipulates you into feeling that woman is some sort of object that could be used and that could be played with her strings in order to give you what you want. And this is one of the most dangerous things because we're still operating from the boy, from the wounded boy, and well, basically fucking up our karma big time. So, without further ado, let's talk about that. That was a long intro. And let's move into every topic today. And hopefully, the hour will contain all of this information. And hopefully, the people listening to this will get something new and integrate something new in their bodies. So, giving the microphone to Yarna now.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Big time. I think all of these, right, like, are important themes. And I start with the last point actually, like, because I've just come from a place where I experience like just again like how men or many men talk about women and sexualize even, anything. It's just insane. Um, and then this cheeky smile about it, right? And I think women do this too with men, to be really honest. I'm observing that as well in other places, from the outside. And there is a principle or a law, like in the Hermetics, it's called law of gender. And someone who is not balanced within their own self, feminine, masculine, and is, kind of lacking their own masculinity or own femininity, they try to eh, get it in the outside, or we try to get it somewhere outside of ourselves, trying to manipulate, trying to, like, we're projecting, and we're actually creating that reality within ourselves and perceiving it in the outside. And it doesn't even matter if the outside is not even the real deal. But because our belief is so strong, or what we tell ourselves is so strong, the story that we tell ourselves is so strong, that we're actually perceiving it in the outer world. And we're making it our reality. And we may even be so strongly in this belief that we make that other person feel that too. And behave then in a way that maybe shows insecurity. And we think this insecurity might be a chance for us to take advantage of that. It's insane. It's insane. And yeah, the perversity behind all of that, the lack of clarity within men and women. I must point out women as well in this because I'm just seeing it. Um, I don't say that. If you look at porn, um, why is always the man treating the woman like shit? Like there are very few, like, shit. It's all shit, to be honest. Stuff that's going on that, like, it's vice versa. So don't get me wrong, like, even in school or something like this when I was a child, there were some men who would just like to be treated like shit from women. Me certainly not. Never, never been that way. And yeah, just insane how we talk about other people, what rights we even take out for ourselves in talking about women as men, or and vice versa. I really must bring it back to the other gender as well,
Yeah,
because life is not a one-way street. So when I talk about someone, it has more to tell about me than it has to tell about anyone else. So if we all have been young and we all hang out or listened to, I don't know if I even would call it an idol, but like just a figure that we looked up at, right? Maybe our father, maybe our uncle, maybe some random dude 2 classes or 2 grades above us in school. And out of insecurity, we may chose to hang out in that type of energy and started speaking in a way. And I always felt like it's not for me. Like I just couldn't. I was just something in my heart and body that just felt like it doesn't feel good to talk bad about women or to see them as objects. It never worked out in that way, out of my own experiences as well. And yeah, it's just bullshit.
yeah. Thank you for sharing, brother. I must say, for the fourth point, the red pill, I remember going really intensely in my college years after a breakup with someone that I truly loved, and this is why I say it comes in when you're hurt, because there's no one who comes in and says, as men, there is a true wound regarding women, and we don't talk about that. We just either, man, just put your chin up and just move forward. You're better than her. Maybe this is good for you, or you actually want to do a change, and that change sometimes in the wrong space just brings in really well good results in the moment, but it's definitely bad results. I remember going into the whole books really of red pill and how these men approached women from a biological perspective. And in the beginning it was just like an eye opener, just to understand, because I really wanted to understand, and also I was hurt. And then came in the techniques and the peacock methods and the way of push pull. And of course, I'm not going to go into what are the techniques, just naming a few. And at one point, I remember I was just like, just about to use it in college because, this is it. Like, only girls or just really respond to that. And I had other boys or competitors, shall you say, bigger than me, stronger than me, dealing with their girlfriends as if they're a piece of trash, and their girlfriends like it. And it was kind of like, so what? I'm trying to be nice, I'm trying to be good, but the asshole is winning. And there wasn't this model, you know, that had this middle ground where a man could really, stand up for himself, stand up and say his truth, and be an asshole sometimes, but doesn't have to be an abuser, doesn't have to go full extreme, and doesn't have to be a nice guy and say yes to everything that his girl asks him for. Um, so yeah, um, this is something that really meant a lot of men, especially after their divorce or after their breakup, they could get entangled in. And this is sometimes they start to see women that way, like they're biological creatures who are just genetically affected by war. So you would have lots of historical facts saying that, for example, if two countries are warring against each other in medieval times, they would correlate that women move on faster from the man. Actually, men take more and more time to find healing and find really to really move on. And
Science,
they
yeah.
put it.
There's a
What?
There's a science to it, yeah.
There's a science to
Well,
it, yes. There's a
interesting.
science
I,
to it.
I I do understand the principle, I think, because it's like we're coming from the mother, so there is like an already like a wound of separation from birth,
Yeah.
for us if we're not having like a conscious birth, as like not many of us have, because
Mm,
this can be changed as well. But I think there's
yeah.
a certain wound of separation from the beginning on, so it does make total sense that men, carry that within them longer. Yeah.
From the woman's perspective, it belongs to war. So if you have two countries that were warring and another country wins and they kill all the men in the village, what happened normally is that women and were treated as spoils and taken as slaves. And in order to live, they had to find their way and just try to accommodate and adapt themselves. And this is why genetically they correlate this for a woman now is very able to move forward, even though she's hurting inside, but she has this ability to move forward more than man because we don't have that capacity really still to feel our grief and also move on. So these are techniques and historical facts that are put in the red pill. So red pill is very deceiving because it has elements of truth in it, elements of science and elements of biology, but at the same time they pull you into executing in a very bullshit way which causes hurt to the other people because it never teaches you how to be vulnerable with your partner. It teaches you how to make her want you, and that by time starts to erode and she starts to see your little cracks on the inside. So this is something that we can talk about more in depth, but I would love to move on to the next point and to the next element. And brother, I will give it up to you. Let me know what you want to explore next.
Sure. I think let's go to the beginning of it all, as I just mentioned it as well.
Yeah.
And keeping it flowing because, like, society itself. I mean, I grew up between ladies, so for me it was very natural to have contact with ladies from a very young age. Even before porn, I had contact with just, you know, I'm seeing them naked, bathing with them naked, those types of things. So for me, this just has been a very different start, I think, to most men. Um, and I think the moment that porn came in, um, it was just like very, very interesting because there's like these extreme highs and these extreme lows. And you light up like a candle, like, but it blows you out as quick because there's so much electrical charge that we've not been told how to utilize it. And I think this is the entire problem, the vertical man, like the top, like the entire theme of what we're talking about here. For me also is like to learn to channel that sexual energy, that creative energy in a way that is actually beneficial, that we're creating things rather than destroying things or leaking things or having a lack of anything really, because we're not born to have a lack, not at all. Like we shouldn't lack anything in life, nothing. And for a man it starts with learning to utilize that creative energy in a way that we're not spitting it out
Beautiful.
for no reason, but that if we spit it out, that we actually create with. And everyone can, think for themselves what that means for themselves. I leave it up to you.
Mhm.
I think, it says a lot to speak about it in that way. And I think also every man can relate to the fact that once you ejaculate, like you feel you run a marathon.
Mhm.
And to gain that energy back in, if you have contained it for a while, like it just takes time. Or more sexual arousal or more play in that way. And this is just very difficult if
Mhm.
you're not in integrity with your own actions, or you're focusing that energy, or you're aroused by the external, rather than first developing such a sense of deep self-respect and self-love within
Mm.
you that you're able to transmute that energy in a very beautiful way. But yeah, this is kind of where I come from. Porn, or like, sexualizing things from a very young age. I mean, we just see it in society. I can't recall when my first porn was. I think I started ejaculating, I don't know, like 11, 10, maybe 9. Very difficult to say. Um, but I wish someone would have told me in another way, because it's okay to explore. Like, it is natural to explore your creative energy, learn to feel your body and stuff like that. But we're living in a society where it's either evil or perverted, and both for me aren't really far away from one another.
I hear you totally. And that word of lack really sums it up for me as well. The moment I'm feeling like a sense of a bent up energy moving through me, I really ask myself, am I in lack? 90% of the time, that is the case. That I am feeling that I'm lacking something and I need to get out of my way and I need to move into that intensity and I need to feel it all to release it all. And it's the whole form of ejaculation, basically in men. And it's so different from what women experience because we have one shot. They are in total continuous orgasms when they choose, of course, to go into that state. But for us as men, it's so society has conditioned us, even the porn has conditioned us to release, to go, to really just have intercourse that is so intense, so fast, and so rough to the point that you can't slow down and relax into it. And once I've really tasted that and tasted really slowing down and feeling that urge to go fast, that was just the programming in me just dying basically. And the beautiful thing is that when you start to go slow, actually the woman with you starts to softens more and more, and you start to feel and you start to listen to her body, and actually it's a whole fucking trip for me
Mm.
and as well a whole manipulation from the porn industry that they know that we as human beings have that power, and not just about sex. I mean, just like really cutting a tomato and seeing the juices fall, or really putting in the key into a keyhole and really moving slow, or feeling the water as it moves through your body. All of these things we have become numb to it because we have been chasing something. For me, from the age of 7, I was introduced to a woman with big breasts and and a looking eye that really, for a 7-year old, felt really exposing to me, and as well, whoa. And I've been funny thing is that sensation I've been trying to replicate. So in order, my nervous system, what I understood later when I studied somatics a bit, is that my nervous system wants to find a release in that, and to find a release in that I have to find actually a toxic woman and actually to feel that. So it's a big of conundrum, and it's a big, one of the toughest, more than cigarettes for me, to really get it off, because the drug is in you. Even if you stop the porn, it takes time for your mind to rewire what was actually been destroyed for all of these years.
Bro, we go deep. So for me, like men get hard, women get soft. Right? Let's take the intercourse thing. And I also, like, when we're really learning to move slow, she's having the experience of her life and you have the experience of your life. And there's like so much beauty in that sacred energy exchange, right? Like SAX, like, or SEX, sacred energy exchange. Let's see it that way, you know?
Mm.
Because it is fucking powerful what men and women can do when they come together. And when we are utilizing that energy, and like, I mean, I'm looking at women from a very young age and I'm just like adored by, I just find them adorable. Like the feminine beauty of it all, like, and the curves and the beauty and the look and the nurturing and the softness and the gentleness, like, right?
Yeah,
And I just always felt like I want to be there for them because I felt that they are here for me, you know, in a very different way than it is from a brother to a brother for me. Like, it's just like this, like, when in this physical reality and this fucking shit show that we're witnessing, if you can come together with a brother and you can fucking shake your hands and you're like, boom, like, you just know this bro is there for you, right? You can go through everything with him. It's different. It's just totally different than to a woman. And to move into this fast pace that we're talking about, right? Because we're like bam, 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 and we just see these porns, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, very intimidating. I know what you're saying, and you're seeing these eyes of these women, and you're like, I mean, like, I don't know where am I? Am I here? Am I here? And you bounce between heaven and hell, it feels, you know, and it's just like very pulling you into so many different directions. It's just not fair at all, and not healthy at all to place this in front of children, to place this in front of humans. I mean, everyone must decide for themselves, but yeah, lots of distortion. And for me also, like it took a while to really learn to slow down
yeah,
and to find pleasure in me being open to sense her and to be really learning what it means to be leading this entire act as well,
yeah,
right? Without forcing anything onto her or having her force anything onto me because she needs it so much. Like, who doesn't need anything here? Like, and for what? Like, seriously, right? So, just all questions that we gotta ask ourselves. I love this topic, and I'm giving it back to you and see where we're going.
beautiful, brother. I would love for us to, go forward for the next distortion that fucks us all up. And I'm gonna ask you, like, what's your favorite romantic movie? Let's just have it done. For me, it's this movie. I don't remember the name. It's Harrison Ford, this rich boy who loved Julia Roberts, who was a prostitute, and she loved him back, but it didn't work out. For me, that movie, just I watched it when I was very very young. I still love this movie till now, and this is how much the programming might be very strong. You know, you have in that movie a guy who is basically has boy energy, and he looks very handsome, and looks very young and very fucking rich, and it's just like giving you all the things of scarcity, like I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that, very early on. But the whole thing of the movie itself, the romance, the intensity and the chemicals moving through and all of the jokey things that happens in the movie, and then the intense separation, and then coming back and the happy ever after, and no one tells us what happens after the credit rolls. Like, how is this guy from a very different culture going to integrate and actually assimilate this woman that's coming in from another different culture? Like, how is nobody told us how is that? Like, we didn't get a second part. And this is something that, as we're going through and watching these movies, literally what I feel right now, because I stopped watching movies for some time, um, but I feel right now when I start to give my eyes a long time, more than 10 or 15 minutes, I could feel like literally, if something is really taking me in the screen, like something is taking my soul away, like all of my energy is just moving through my eyes into the screen that's just giving me consumption after consumption, and I'm no longer present, I'm no longer centered. So who the fuck is in my body as I'm watching this? I don't understand. And all of the chemicals that are watching, all of these chemicals that are moving through me, who am I the same person after the movie? And is my programming being reinforced? It really took me a long, long, long time, and I think until now, it's still there. The programming is still there. This whole idea of just finding the one and finding all of this intense emotions and living an adventurous, spontaneous movie. And if it's not, if it doesn't bring me that, then my whole body nervous system is just going into alert. This is not it. Especially if it's peaceful, especially if it's boring, especially if it's not giving in the chemical cocktail.
Mm.
So I'll give it on to you. I'm looking forward to know you better on that regard.
I can't tell you anything about movies. I when I first watched movies with people, I'm like, what the fuck? Like this show that I'm seeing here in real life is movie enough. So every time people ask me for movies or my favorite movie or this or that, I ain't have one. So I must pass on this.
Wow. You didn't have
Um,
one as a kid?
Lion's King, but bro, right? Like those type of stories, like right, like you can get me, but
You didn't watch Aladdin, for example? Aladdin or um, what's the other movie? Snow White, the whole cartoonish Disney's. You never watched them? Oh my God, man, you're blessed, man. I'm happy for you.
yeah, like I mean, even though I may have been witnessing people watching them, I was watching people.
Mm,
So my entire life is based around watching people do what they do and studying their behavior and their psyche and their everything, like
beautiful.
their body language, their tone, their reactions, all of those things is where I placed my entire focus on as a child. So sure, there have been movies like if I go go back, but I can't tell you like there's nothing very present in my awareness. Um, but let's move on to the women who raises us, right? Like our mom,
Yeah,
because I think this is also a reason why I am just the way that I am. My mom has been always there. I was a very sick child. Screaming, yelling for the first 3, 4 months of my life. Um, came in with lots of pain, lung problems, died when I was young, 1 year old, left my body, remember me leaving my body. So my entire life is just like, I don't know, I had a different start, different childhood. I always felt weird, different, not from here. I also received information that I am not from here. And I know that if this soul that's now inside this body has been incarnating before on this earth, it has been a few thousand years ago, because I haven't been here for this entire middle age shit at all. um, my oversoul has, so I can, say that. But anyway, this is not the topic. But
yeah,
what we're actually like, my mom, she's a very grounded woman, a very loyal woman. So I'm a very loyal man, and um, I may have been too quick in a relationship, too easy, too deep, right? Too quick, too deep into this like relationship with women, that I forgot to see all of these signals, or I haven't, or I denied them. Just yeah, it's not that bad. But yeah, but she's happy me being with her. right? So more like this type of behavior for me than anything else. Not that I was allowing her to treat me like shit. I always called her out, no matter if it was my first girlfriend who really treated me like shit. But she was treated like shit by her parents, right? So, so yeah, this is kind of where I come from in this. I made a post yesterday, another post, like a comment, in another community where we talked about pain suddenly. Like, I made a post about divine, divine desire and gender. And because I know there's some people who are also like into certain conversations in other communities, and I wanted to provoke a topic with this post, naming some things. And yeah, these entire like pain and pleasure games that go on. It's like
Yeah.
I'm more like, I'm more learning not knowing that I don't need to save anyone, and then coming from the place of like seeking extreme pleasure or extreme pain.
Mm. I
Yeah.
have a question, brother. Was your father around when you were growing up?
Oh no, my dad wasn't a lot around, to be honest. He's been working out in town or in cities. He's not been loyal. I knew this later. He also been with other women during holidays.
Mm,
My
mm,
mom told me later. He left us when I was 12, so he chose to go with another woman, which also hasn't been working out for him.
mm,
So, and he's
mm,
single today as well. So it's yeah, I've been like raised by women. Like my uncle was there, my grandpa was there. They're still both married, like happily. They are really committed in the relationship that they're in. So I think my uncle and my grandpa they both have been like big father figures for me. And my dad always like in terms of like sports and stuff like this. Or when I really needed like to get out of shit that I didn't want it to bother my mom with, I knew I could call him as well. So yeah.
beautiful. Um, so yeah, man, from where I was coming from, really, I remember I really have lots of memories when I started picking up some programs and my ego started to tell me, okay, I need to show up in certain ways because I can't be like my father. And the thing is about Egyptian culture, Egyptian Muslim culture, is that they tie men. And in the beginning, I think in the beginning of the beginning of Islam, was beautiful because it puts you in a loyal way. But as the same teaching becomes, well, it loses its beautiful fruit. You would have men that would grow up and just do it out of doing sake. So my father stayed loyal, but I grew up and I just knew that I can't be like him. And that realization came from being really attuned to my mother. My mother was, she's very strong and yet very, a woman that would say yes if her body would say no. And that also comes from the culture that the woman has to, well, sometimes follow the lead of the man. Um it creates long lasting families, but it also creates trauma because I remember when I grew up, I just didn't want that kind of family. And it got me into serious, really toxic relationships. And this is where I think the woman who raised me really had this effect on me because I grew up and I didn't want to give the same pain that I felt my mother was going through in the relationship. And my mother didn't talk about the pain. She talked about, of course, the things that got her disappointed, or maybe sometimes my father got angry. But she never really, ever, ever really expressed herself. And this reflected to me in a way that I also didn't start to express myself, especially when I went into a relationship that was kind of demanding something of me, or went into abuse, or maybe I felt by being unconsciously loyal to my mother's programming, I would also stay in toxic relationships, hoping that it will change. And these are the things that really started to be instilled in me in my relationships as I was trying to stay loyal to my mother unconsciously. Something else, of course, was my father's anger, and that's his own rage. I decided I was never going to be rageful. I'm never going to like use my voice, not raise my voice, and not say what I want. And it really costs me, and all of that because the relationship didn't really have between my father and mother, and the whole trinity of father, mother, son never really truly had what I would say true love in it. It had true care, but true love was never there. And it got me to the point where I started attracting some relationships where I didn't love the partner that I was attracting, or the partner that I was chasing didn't actually care for me.
Mhm.
And very interestingly, man, it's not just us that are just like growing up, but mostly we grow up and we try not to be like our dads, which pushes 50% of our lineage into the mud because we try to suppress who we truly are. And that's just the path of suffering. And also, you have a lot of um, women that are really growing up now into this movement of feminism, telling men how they should feel, should think, should act, and it's um, it's causing men their leadership and direction.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like we would say it's taking their balls away. Um,
Balls on a plate.
yeah, I hear you. And there have been parts to me, where I didn't want it to be like my dad as well in certain aspects. But again, like what we judge, we become. So, another Hermetic, um, just part of the Hermetics, like those who study Hermetics or, who understand it know what I'm talking about. Because it's like, how you perceive the world has more to say about you than about the world. And whatever you're polarized at, or, when you polarize yourself and like, oh yeah, I had this behavior, you're attracting that behavior in whatever way. It's an interesting play. So, bro, I hear you. It's such an amazing topic. I think like the entire round, the energy, boom. Looking forward to the next ones. And yeah, I'm just calling out men and women who are listening this, who watch the replay. I'm sure some of the people in the community will, as I'm going to promote what we're doing here. And it's very important. I'm sure you're doing it in a brotherhood as well. I think it's just very important that these conversations are being put out. The moment that I looked at you into your eyes, and we had this like fun about things, but this extreme depth at the same time, at the beach in Dahab. And we can talk about Dahab as well, like one day, because what's going on there and what I was witnessing as well, it's just not how I want to live my life. And yeah, but again, like it all has its place, it all has its value. I'm not judging it, but I think this strong feminism or this strong this or this strong that, like at the end of the day, we're humans. And what it comes down to is that we find stillness within ourselves, happiness within ourselves, fullness within ourselves, gentleness within ourselves. and just
mm,
giving our best to stay within ourselves without feeling needy or this or that, or this person will save me, or this person is the one, or this person is this or that. You fucking know. I speak this to everyone. You fucking know. Every one of us knows. There's a part within every single one of you that knows what's true, that knows what balance means to you, that knows what, the experience that your soul wants to have is here for. And there are two different ways. Like there's the way of the world, which I'm going, and there's the way of renunciation, to say no to certain things. And I lived both parts um, in this life before. I am here to live in the world. Um, I'm very attracted to a woman right now, and I'm someone who is committing to a relationship um, in that way because I see the extreme potential of creation, not to, not focusing on creating a child or anything like this. But if that's a part, like, I mean, well, like, I'm not saying no, but to really see that even if it comes that far, I'm going to do it with the highest intent possible because I'm fucking bringing a soul to this earth, right? I'm planting a seed that a new life is coming to come to this earth. And this life and this being who's coming to this earth is going to do great things, right? And I don't want this being to have the trauma that I wasn't able to deal with, or that the mother wasn't able to deal with. So this is something that we have to consider as well, and this might be, I think, a great topic, actually, because children will reflect our traumas back to us. Because I know me and my sisters did.
mm. I hear you, brother. A big part of why I'm doing this work is also to, when the time comes and I bring my own child, my own lineage, I'm not inheriting him all the bullshit that I inherited from my own parents. So there's an honor of the work that we're doing, and there's a truth to it. So long we may be committed to the path.
Yeah, shall we? Amazing. So be it, bro. So be it. And God is our witness. All right, guys. See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.